I'm facing up to 7 years in prison for felony charges just for loving him. Any advice would be appreciated.
Hi, loves. This is a quick intro because I have a really special guest on today's video. It's one of my besties. Her name is Journey. I do the whole introduction on the interview. Not interview, we just kind of did a video together. But I wanted to come in and I wanted to just drop a little intro before that first. First of all, I just did a video yesterday with an intro where Lisanne and Randy took over my channel. I think that's yesterday. I don't know what order these posts in, but I have a big same night just doing the intros back to back because I did those videos. I did the video with Joe a few days ago. Pardon my appearance, by the way. I was out of the gym. It was late at night. No makeup. We were both just kind of chilling. Some stuff happened and we decided to drop everything and make a video. But I was at the dermatologist. I have bruising all over my face. I have my face covered with, I had to get a procedure. So I have my face covered with makeup. She said that was fine. And I had lipstick stain on so you couldn't see all the bruising all over me, my lips. But it was starting to dry out my lips. And because everything's on my face is so swollen and bruised, it was hurting. So please pardon the nasty appearance, but I didn't want to not make an intro here because I wanted to say this. Joe and I have been coaching prison wives together for years. And sometimes we've seen a lot of people get away with bad behavior. By bad behavior, I don't mean like criminal behavior. I mean putting themselves last, putting up with abuse, making excuses for people. And so when we see something happen over and over and over again, and people just kind of coddling or allowing people to make excuses or excusing and justifying being treated less than they deserve to be treated because he's in jail or whatever the excuse is, then we have to feel like we have to step in and try to help, try to offer our years of experience. So this kind of, some parts maybe felt like they were, I don't want to say aggressive, but maybe to the point and harsh, but that's because that's sometimes what you need in order to get that seed planted. And also, is it really support if you're just telling people what they want to hear? Is it really support if you're just like, oh, honey, it's okay. It's okay. Put up with abuse. It's okay. Because he's in prison. No. So if you are easily offended, if you want somebody who's going to coddle you, if you want somebody who's going to tell you no matter what advice you come for, it's okay. Especially when you're doing something harmful, this is not the video for you. You need to pull up those big girl pants today, and you need to open up your heart and open up your mind and know that everything that is said here is out of love. It's us opening up our arms and being like, come here, sweetie, let me help you. It's like you would do with your child. You wouldn't just let them run out of the middle of the street with a car coming without stopping them and saying something a little bit in the moment aggressive. And I don't think that anything we said was aggressive, but I'm just trying to give you an analogy of you can't just let people that you care for or you love put themselves in harm's way and not say anything. And sometimes that love needs to be administered in a tough way. So I don't want to waste any more time. I just wanted to say that if you are sensitive, if you are not ready to hear it, then this video probably isn't for you. You might want to click off and come to the next one. But I challenge you to listen. Even if you don't want to take the advice, listen, because you'll probably get something out of it and a seed will be planted. So without me wasting any more time, here is my video with my bestie, Joe.
Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am so freaking excited to have my bestie here today. So let me, for you guys that don't know, my dear friend Journey, who we call Joe, I will introduce who she is. I will explain how we met, what we've been doing together as far as working together for the past, what are we up to, 6 years at this point?
Yeah.
Yeah. Then we are going to get into a little bit of a tough love sisterly smackdown. That is why I brought in the big guns, because Joe is the muscles of our mission, and we call each other good cop, bad cop. So let me explain how we met. Joe joined Strong Prison Wives and Families 6 years ago when she was early into her relationship with Ben, who is out in 4 months at this point?
Something like that. I've honestly lost count. I expected to be freaking out, and instead I'm just yeah, it's not time yet. I think we're down to 90 days at this point.
My God. Oh my, so excited for you guys. But when we first met, I just saw Joe online posting and responding to people and writing, and I reached out to her and I was like, hello, we need to be friends, first of all. And second of all, because her background, she has such an extensive background. She was in the military. She was you were a correctional officer first, right? Then military.
Years ago, yeah.
Yep. And then she was an Army medic, and then she became a military wife, and then she became a prison wife. So she has this amazing background, and I reached out to her, and she wrote one of the most read and shared blogs for Strong Prison Wives and Families about the difference between being a prison wife and a military wife, and the similarities, because we had a lot of people who were kind of hating on us because they were military wives and they couldn't understand being prison wives. So she kind of broke that mold. It was amazing. Ever since, we've been like this, and we've done a lot of work together. We've given workshops together. We've taught classes. She's just brilliant. So is there anything else you want to say that I missed in your intro?
You're making me sound a little bit too much like an action hero. I'm kind of a hot mess, but I've been doing this. I've been doing this a long time, and I have a background in psychology and addiction counseling now. I'm a pastor, so I spend a lot of time counseling people and a doctor. Go figure. My mother finally has a doctor in the family. I do have a doctorate, but it's in divinity, so I don't think that really counts in her book. But yeah, I enjoy helping people. It's what I do for a living. I spend a lot of time helping women in various aspects. I work with women in recovery from drug and alcohol addiction. As part of that, a lot of what comes with recovery from substance abuse is the emotional aspect of it as well. And a lot of women have come out of some really challenging relationship situations. And so helping with Strong Prison Wives and, being a prison wife myself has given me the ability to kind of take all of the facets of my life, from my time in corrections years ago and military medicine and emergency medicine on the streets. And, it's just allowed me to blend it all really cool into all of the various situations that people find themselves in. I'm a hot mess and a lunatic, but I like doing this.
She wears a cape. It's just at the dry cleaner right now. So the reason this video came about is I will often text Joe hey, I just need to bounce this off of you. What do you think about this? And it kind of goes vice versa. And then we'll have conversations in how we can respond to certain people in crisis or respond to certain posts on Strong Prison Wives and Families social media pages. So I reached out to her with this one because it was very, very delicate. And she came back with her tough love, Mama Joe, as she's also known as, attitude, and said, I just can't on this one. You can't cuddle them anymore, Ro. So then this happened maybe 3 or 4 times in 1 week. And finally, we said it's time for us to actually sit down, turn on the camera, hit record, and make this video for everybody. So this one specifically, I'm going to read, and then I'll edit through it and make sure that it stays anonymous. And then I actually have the answer that you texted me. But since you're here, I want you to talk through it. And if you forget anything, I'll just remind you. So This woman says, hey, Ro, I figured I'd send you a message because I'm in a bad situation, and I didn't know if you'd ever heard of something like this or could offer advice. I'll start at the beginning. I met my now fiance in 2016. He was just getting out of prison, serving a 5-year sentence, and came to work at my job. We hit it off instantly. We had a friends with benefits relationship, but it ended after a few months. Fast forward a year, in 2017, we started talking again. And just as we were reconnecting, he was put back in prison for 4 months for violating his parole, which was a hot drug test. I knew he was a good person and honestly the love of my life, so I waited for him. He was home planned to me in 2018. He was always kind of paranoid, but it didn't raise any red flags at first because I thought maybe it was because he loved me so much. He was just overly worried. Flash forward to this July where he was drinking and began to beat me up and tell me he was going to kill me. And he almost succeeded. He was over and over, and I almost blacked out many times. I ran to a neighbor, and they called the cops, and they put a warrant out for him for a felony threats that I can't say the word or this won't get published on YouTube, and just bad things. So I wasn't talking to him at all for about a week, and he was sending me messages about how he was so sorry and didn't really remember that night and couldn't believe it happened, which for the record, I believe. He was devastated, and it was always good. He was always good to me, just had mental health problems from being inside prison. So he showed up to talk because I was willing to and knew he'd be arrested, as we might as well have our final conversation. He showed up, and his parole officer was right behind him and drew their guns out in front of my children and arrested him. I then got a call saying I'd be getting felony harboring charges because he was here. We've been in contact, and I've forgiven him, but obviously not forgotten, because what he really needs is mental health treatment and love. He's been incarcerated all his adult life and was abused as a child, and really does have such a good heart. He loves me and appreciates me a lot. But that night he was blackout drunk, and it's like his PTSD side took over. So needless to say, I'm writing the sentence out. He's on meds in prison, and he's getting mental health treatment and is working a lot on himself. But I'm not sure what to do. I could get out of this completely if I say he was abusive, etc. But that's not who he really is. I'm facing up to 7 years in prison for felony charges just for loving him. Any advice would be appreciated. I know most people would think I'm crazy, but I think you and other prison wives know that with inmates, there's a lot of mental health institutionalization issues to deal with, and it's really hard. I don't want to give up on someone who just needs help and love. I also don't want to go to prison for all of this. I am so scared, and I wanted to reach out. And what I did was I reached out to Joe like, help, because I needed to take a couple of breaths, and I'm sure you could hear me kind of my emotions coming through. So I'm just going to turn this one over to you first, and you can run it.
Well, my facial expressions while you're reading probably said everything. Like, my thought bubbles probably showed on that one. I had a really hard time with that, and here's why. What you're seeing there is, quite frankly, an utterly ridiculous amount of self-deception and denial. You're going to put yourself at risk of a prison sentence and potentially abandon your children for 7 years over a man who beat you senseless, can't stay out of prison because he chooses to violate probation. You help him violate that probation by allowing him to come to your home, and you want to blame it on PTSD and prison issues. Okay, first of all, that's insulting to mothers everywhere whose first and only concern is for the safety and security of their children. That's insulting to people with PTSD who walk around out here every day without using drugs or abusing substances or beating up people and blaming it on their PTSD. It's insulting to people with mental health issues who go to therapy rather than acting out or engaging in substance abuse or criminal behavior, using literally hundreds of free methods and resources and neighborhood clinics to get meds, to, everything to do so regardless of whether they've been in prison or not. Unconditional love does not mean unconditional acceptance of unacceptable behavior.
Oh, I've chilled.
And all of this is completely unacceptable under any circumstances. Like, nothing about this entire situation is okay. Prison is not a pass for disrespect, mental, emotional, and certainly not physical abuse, and just utter nonsense. And if he loved you, he wouldn't be doing any of it, because we don't hurt people we love. It sounds to me like he's not the only one who needs therapy, and she needs to get some immediately. We support people in healthy relationships. We're not here to blow smoke up people's butt. We're not here to support train wrecks, quite frankly. We're not going to give you advice that is going to put you in harm's way or tell you that that is okay. We're not going to endorse unhealthy behaviors from you or your partner. That's not what we do here. And I remember having the conversation with you and telling you something to the effect of, you can tell her I said it and put my name on it. I'm usually not that direct, but sometimes people need to get their stuff together and act like a mother and a grown woman whose time, effort, money, and love are worth something. You need to value yourself before you can expect anybody else to do it. And when you are not loved and valued and respected and honored in your relationship, it's time to go. You can't convince somebody to love you the way that you need to be loved if you're not acting like you love yourself. So, I think those were my thoughts on the matter then. And honestly, they're still my thoughts on the matter. I know that sometimes it's hard when you are in that place. I have been in an abusive relationship. It was years and years ago. And I understand what it's like. I understand how the process is very slow. It's very gradual. You just kind of get beat down to the point that you stay. And nothing that anybody can tell you is going to be enough until you decide that you're ready to leave. And it's an intensely hard process, and it takes a lot of time, and it takes a lot of work to leave an abusive relationship and to get back to a point where you feel that self-worth and you feel like, okay, you know what? I'm going to change whatever needs changing in me so that I never accept this kind of behavior from anybody else, because I'm worth more than that. So there is no judgment in it, but sometimes people just need that cold splash of water. Yeah. Sometimes people come looking for support and they're like, what do I do? And can you help me? And, there's this laundry list, there's this long explanation. And at the root of it, you just need to tell them, boo, you're wrong. And you've been wrong. You're currently wrong. You fix it to be wrong. Like, sometimes people just need to be told the hard truth.
The reason I rattled off Joe's laundry list of credentials, aside from the fact that I just brag on my besties all day long, is that she checks all the boxes. She's a mother. She has PTSD from being a soldier. She was in an abusive relationship. She's an addiction counselor. She can tell you firsthand from all of her years of experience how to handle this. And she said to me, bro, we have to give tough love or we're not loving our girls. And one thing, I can't add anything to that except for this. And we've said this, we've talked about this for years. A lot of time, women come to us or our community and they expect us to co-sign and validate what they know is a bad decision, because she said it here in her words. She said, I'm coming to you because you're prison wife, so I feel like you'll accept me. I will accept you, but I will not co-sign your bad decision and allow you to put up with abuse just because your man and my man's in the same situation. Honey. No, I will hold your hand and I will pull you up out of a bad day and I will help you on this journey all day long. But sometimes loving you looks like Joe said, tough love, and administering that to the point where you can love yourself, loving you enough until you can love yourself enough to walk away from a situation where you said it. He almost successfully killed you. What's going to stop him the next time? Because my love, there will be a next time. It just doesn't go away. It's not just because you're out drunk. All that does is limit your inhibition. So his true, authentic whatever came out. And if he did that once, now he developed that threshold. And next time he'll pass it, because you staying and saying that was okay. That's okay that you forgave him. It's okay you forgave him for you. But you're saying that's okay. So next time you can go further and further and further. And we don't want him to go as far as not stopping until you're in a body bag. So next one, do you have anything else to add to that one?
No, absolutely. And admittedly, this is an extreme one.
Yeah. I think that's the red flag to do this.
It's not something that we see every day, obviously. But I think there are smaller versions of that. There are more innocuous versions of that we do see every day, hundreds of times a day. Oh, he called and he yelled at me. He got an attitude with me. He called me out my name. He disrespected me. He's accusing me of cheating. He's this, he's that. I'm sorry, I'm not paying $5 of my hard-earned money to sit and get yelled at or disrespected or called out my name on the phone. Sorry about your luck, boo-boo. You can come correct or not at all. And it's okay to be mad. These are normal relationships under a very abnormal set of circumstances. You are going to get into it with your partner. You are going to have times that you don't agree and you fight and you don't get along, or stuff happens. But nobody has the right, especially some dude with a bedtime sitting in the joint, to call and make you feel bad about what you have to do out here to survive, to pay your bills, to have a life that prison does not consume, so that being a prison wife is not all you're about and your only identity. He doesn't have the right to disrespect you and call you names and tell you where you can and can't go. Every partnership has, different compromises and different things that we're all comfortable with. But so what you and your partner might be comfortable with is not necessarily something that Ben and I would be, or Adam and Ro would be, and vice versa. But there is no call for disrespect or abuse on any level. That's not healthy. And I'm going to be the one to tell you, and I know certain other people on the staff of SPWF, the volunteer staff, will tell you, if you come in the groups, if you're posting, so-and-so called me names, so-and-so disrespected me, I told so-and-so I couldn't do this month, and he got an attitude. We're not being not supportive when we tell you, hey, don't put up with that, nip it in the bud. What we're doing is coming from our years of experience and saying, hey, hold up, that's a red flag, time out. You're gonna wanna get that under control, and here's why. Nobody has the right to make you feel less than. And you shouldn't be doing it to yourself either. So that's about it with that one.
I love it. And you know what? And I just want to add this too, because you said this is definitely an extreme one, and it's not one that happens every day. But we've seen this before a couple of times at the very. So remember that time around Christmas a couple years ago where it was basically the exact same scenario, and she fought us tooth and nail when we were giving her the answers, and there were 90 something comments on a Facebook thread, and this woman was fighting everybody, and every single one of them was supportive. Like, honey, I was there. It's not going to get better.
I do remember that one. Yeah, I do remember that one. People urging her. There were a couple of people on that thread who even told her, I think, because they were in the same area she was. If I remember correctly, they were even like, I will come and get you. You can come stay at my house. Like, we will get you out of there. I will help you. I will go to the courthouse with you. I will get restraining orders for you. And she just wasn't ready. And that was really sad to watch. And I don't know how that one turned out. I hope for the best, but I do remember that one. That one was tough.
Yeah, it was. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. This woman says,
I'm so sorry for the tease, you guys, but this video was 47 minutes long, and I decided that I was going to break it up into 2 or 3 separate videos, because otherwise it's going to be a lot for you guys to digest in one session. So make sure that you come back. If you have any questions or comments for Joe, put them in the comments below. Keep staying strong, keep loving strong, keep supporting one another through this journey, because you're one day closer to it all being over. Lord knows I am too. Lots of love from my heart and Joe's heart to all of yours. We'll see you in part 2 in the next video. Bye, guys.